Hello YouTube! Welcome on in guys. Today we're gonna have a look at NEFER's damage potential with a variety of different weapons, and we're gonna compare how much damage she can actually perform with a variety of different weapons, and if you do not happen to have her signature weapon, Ashru in the Pyramid, which weapon you should be going for your NEFER. But before we start, let's have a look at the team I will be using NEFER with. So we have NEFER, Llama, Aino, and Barbara. Now, for those of you guys who are wondering, why exactly Barbara? Well, Barbara in my team is a flex slot, since I cannot be covering up for all the characters that you might be pairing your NEFER, Llama, and Aino with. I just use Barbara because she's a comfortable character to have, and literally her impact in the entire team's damage is null. Right, with that being said, let me also show you guys the artifact sets all the characters are holding. NEFER is on 4-piece of Night Sky's Unveiling, Llama happens to be on Silken Moon's Serenade, Aino is holding Deepwood Memories because she can shred Dendro Resistance. In case you guys didn't know, that shredding Dendro Resistance actually works for increasing Lunar Bloom damage. However, buffing Dendro damage bonus does not increase Lunar Bloom's damage, okay? So just keep that in mind, right? And Barbara isn't exactly used for this team, so she just is on 4-piece Ocean Root Clam, but it doesn't really affect the team's damage output, okay? So we'll keep that in mind. Alright, so let's have a look at the rotation. I will be following along to keep this entire showcase as universal as I can. We'll be starting with Llama's skill. We'll be then switching to Aino's E and Q, then switching back to Llama's Q, and then going to NEFER skill and 3 charge attack combo. The first weapon we have is NEFER's signature weapon, Reliquary of Truth. So yeah, let's start.
You poor With one heart, we pray. It all adds up. The deception ends here.
Okay, so next weapon we have on NEFER is Varisa's signature weapon. Now, also a key thing to remember is that I will be using crit rate food wherever I can to avoid missing crits and going for eternity, trying to get all the crit hits, okay? So yeah. So yeah, the pile them up only increases my crit rate, it doesn't buff anything else, so just keep that in mind, guys, okay? Let's go.
For the everlasting forest. No more lies. A future made of. The deception ends here.
Before moving on to the next section, let's have a word from our today's sponsor, LD Shop. LD Shop is a cheap, fast, and secure website to get your gacha spending needs fulfilled on one place. They have a bunch of variety of different games, such as Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zone Zero. Here on Genshin Impact, as you can see, all the top-up prices for all the packs are much cheaper than the official store prices. For example, a Welkin Moon only runs you around $4.44, and the $100 pack will only cost you $78.31, saving you about $21.68. Topping up on LD Shop is as simple as selecting the bundle you want to go for, then selecting your server, typing in your UID, and then boom, you can get the Welkin Moon on your account in just a minute. LD Shop also has an offer going on where upon spending $80 in a single month on their site, you can claim yourself a free monthly pass completely on the house. Isn't that just insane? Thanks to LD Shop for being a generous sponsor and sponsoring us for today's video. Check out my link in the description and you can start saving yourself a ton of money on your gacha spendings. Alright, the next weapon we have is Starcallers Watch.
It all adds up. Seek within.
There is no way I didn't crit the burst. There is no flipping way I just missed crits on my ult, bro. I just missed crits on my ult. Okay, you know what? I will use the power of math. Next, we have Kaguras Verity. And if my math is correct, Kaguras Verity should do almost the same damage as Vivid Notions, okay? Let's find out, yeah?
The deception ends here.
The next weapon we have is Sacrificial Fragments. Now, I decided on Sacrificial Fragments, skipping Llama's 4-light signature, 4-star signature, Oathsworn and Dodoko Tails, and Solar Pearl based on the reason that all the other 4 weapons will just be a very hardcore stat stick with a lot of wasted stats such as attack percentage. So the next logical weapon I want to test it out for is Sacrificial Fragments, okay? So let's continue. That was quite perfect. Moving on. The next weapon we have is Widsith. Now, for those of you guys who think the Widsith passive 1 or passive 2 does buffer Lunar Bloom damage in any shape or form, it doesn't. The Lunar Bloom damage solely scales up of Elemental Mastery, and Elemental damage bonus do not buff Lunar Bloom under any circumstances, right? So the only potential passive of Widsith that we can use for our NEFER is the passive 3 Interlude. Elemental Mastery increases by 480. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a gamble trying to get the Elemental Mastery passive to proc, but let's try our best.
1 hour later.
Alright chat, okay, attempt number 55 to try proccing the 3rd buff on the Widsith. Let's begin. We did proc the 3rd one. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Okay, perfect. Alright guys, next weapon we have is the Dawning Frost. Now, you might be wondering, Stripe, but the Dawning Frost is level 20. Well, fear not, with the power of math, I will be able to figure out how much damage it will do by comparing this weapon's damage to an equally statistic level 20 weapon, the Widsith. So, let's begin. But first, we will also eat the crit rate food because I do not want to miss crits. So let me eat one. Yeah. Let's go.
For the everlasting
The next weapon we have is the Blackmarrow Lantern, which is also considered to be her signature 4-star craftable weapon. Now, this is level 20. I will be showing the damage outputs for level 90 with the power of math. Let's begin.
You poor lost luck.
You want this? Look, a rainbow!
By the Frostmoon of old. The deception ends here.
Now here are my final conclusions on the weapon comparison. So as you can see, in terms of weapon damage potential, let's take Blackmarrow Lantern as the baseline. So comparative to that, the best 4-star weapon you could potentially get is Dawning Frost. Now, the reason I would not be picking Widsith, despite it doing 1.36 times more damage or 136% more damage than Blackmarrow Lantern, it's very simple. Widsith only is able to do that damage like 11% of the time in a normal rotation. So ideally, the damage number is way too lower or way too inconsistent to be considered as a good damage number. Therefore, if you do not have Reliquary of Truth and you happen to get Dawning Frost from the weapon banner, that's a great weapon. Apart from that, I really don't see any other options if you are not going for Blackmarrow Lantern. So yeah, keep that information in mind, and I hope you make good decisions when it comes to selecting your weapon for your NEFER. As a final note, I stream most night on Twitch at twitch.tv/Dragner, so do check me out with the link in the description. I would love to have you there, okay? And as always, thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.